Hi there. I just wanted to hop on for a quick live as the topic of social anxiety has come up a lot in my circle lately, and I want to address it today. You see, social anxiety is really a feeling that comes up in our body, and if you just allow yourself to feel it, just accept yourself where you are, accept that social anxiety is actually a very normal, common thing when we have gotten out of practice of being surrounded by people, being surrounded in social situations. And so when we give ourselves more reps, so to speak, the social muscle then gets practiced and exercised and gets stronger again. Because before the pandemic, we used to be able to just talk to most people, right? And during the pandemic, many of us didn't have that social interaction. So it was something that became out of practice for us and not the norm in our day to day. So if we just expose ourselves, and that's really step one, step zero would be just to lean into that feeling, that anxious feeling in social situations is actually a common thing, and just allowing ourselves to feel that. Might help to just put your hand on your heart and one on your stomach to just breathe into that feeling. If you can even right now, when you're in a safe space, recall that feeling, knowing that you're safe and you're okay, everything's okay, no one's dying in these social situations, no one's in harm's way. We are just people having a human connection, exchanging energies. That's all a social interaction really is. And so just allow ourselves to feel that. So that's step zero with social anxiety. And to kind of just get familiar with that feeling so you can lean into it and just breathe into it. And step one of this three-step process, or kind of a way to address these social situations and get used to them. Step one is get more exposure. So whether it's phone a friend, like get more reps in, as I was saying, either phone a friend, go for a walk with a friend, grab coffee or a lunch with a coworker, or call up a family member that you know maybe needs someone to talk to too. Just creating those opportunities for yourself to practice and get those reps in again. And then you'll be feeling like a social butterfly again in no time. And really, it's with strangers that we get this feeling, right? With our family or friends, we don't really have that anxiety because we're so used to being around them. So it's just getting used to, again, being around strangers or being around people we don't usually talk to, but we've enjoyed talking to before, maybe before the pandemic. And so that's really step one in this healing, kind of a healing process, right? To allow ourselves to have that social interaction, the connection again that we all really need as human beings, whether we know it or not. And I say this from personal experience because I was becoming socially anxious, and that was really just even toward the end of last year. But I didn't know that. And I didn't know I was needing human connection till a friend of mine phoned me up and we went to lunch, and I really enjoyed that connection. I really enjoyed that experience, the richness of the conversation. And after that, I phoned another friend, kind of passing along the opportunity to connect again. I phoned another friend and we went for a walk, went for coffee, great. And same with my sister, I phoned her up. Wonderful experience, wonderful exchange of energy. We both need it. Just feel like we're safe and that we have someone to support us, that is supportive of us, wherever we are. And step two is really in these social interactions, if we just allow ourselves to be ourselves, to just not judge ourselves so much, and to not stop ourselves from speaking what we truly want to communicate in our heart. Now, I know sometimes you might be worried about saying the wrong thing, and that's really common. But when we're worried about saying the wrong thing, we're already keeping ourselves from sharing ourselves, from sharing our truth, from sharing who we really are and what we really mean to express. So take down the filters and take down that lens of judgment, lens of protection, lens of shame or blame, and put on instead a lens of newness. Like you've never seen this person before, you've never talked to them before, or you have no opinions of them, right? In that kind of mindset, you really don't know much about them, and so you give that a whole blank slate and whole new way of looking at the person and interacting with them. There's no, oh, but last time we got into this argument, or last time it didn't work out well. So it's more of just allowing yourself to see them with new eyes and see yourself with new eyes. Okay. And have compassion for yourself. That's really what it is accepting yourself as a whole, complete human being. And the reason why we're so judgmental of ourselves really is because there are parts of us we haven't learned to accept yet. And again, this is something from personal experience last year. I learned that there were, and Carl Jung talks about it as just shadow parts of us. And what I learned was there are certain aspects of myself I still was not owning. I still didn't own them because I was ashamed of them. For example, I felt like I was intolerant of certain people or certain attitudes. But by changing the perspective of, hey, I can just let these people be who they want to be, how they want to be. And I wasn't doing that because I wasn't letting myself be who I wanted to be and how I truly wanted to express myself. So by allowing myself to really acknowledge that, hey, it's okay to have standards and want to kind of distance myself from certain people if I couldn't be open to receiving them in that moment. So it's just accepting that shadow of intolerance and the shadow of reactivity, just claiming that and owning that, hey, that's two sides of the same coin, right? The impatience, patience, it's just the same, it's on the same ruler, so to speak, and there's just different spectrums of it. And at any moment, we could be on a different part of the spectrum, and that's okay. Just accepting where we are on the spectrum. Just knowing that it's okay and that we're okay and that we're whole and complete. By accepting all the parts of us that we were shaming and blaming before, we can then put them all together into one whole and put it back into ourselves, integrate it into ourselves as one complete whole human being that we can really, truly embrace, learn to love and accept completely, unconditionally as well. Okay, and step 3 really is, the problem there is we're paying too much attention to ourselves and what we're saying instead of paying attention to the other person and feeling into what it is they want to share, what they want to express, what's going on in their world. When we shift our focus, our attention to that other person and trying to understand, like put on a lens of understanding, trying to understand where they're coming from, what experiences they might have had that led up to them sharing what they want to share. Also seeing them as like maybe a child. When you put on that lens of newness, that new lens, seeing them will be different because you won't have these old beliefs of who they were or who they are, because we're changing every moment. Our selves are evolving like we are evolving. So why hold on to an old belief of a person? So that's really the gist of that third step is just to focus more on them, their development, holding space for their growth as we would want someone to hold space for our growth. And by shifting that attention there, you're paying less attention to yourself and less judging yourself, and more loving another to love ourselves as well, because we are mirrors of each other at the end of the day. The strengths we see in others or admire in others are strengths that we also have and have exhibited before, have demonstrated before. And it's just a matter of acknowledging that we have that, and that those strengths are what we can grow into and demonstrate more of. Create opportunities to demonstrate more of those. And the weaknesses that we see in other people, they are the shadows, so to speak. The parts of us that maybe we can learn to accept. See, the mirror, when we see the weaknesses in others, it's a sign that we can see it in ourselves, whether we want to see it or not. It's there. And the sooner we acknowledge that it's there, the sooner we can accept and integrate it into ourselves, into that whole ball that I was referring to earlier, the wholeness. And then that's when the magic happens, when we can embrace that entirety and integrate that into ourselves. Then we can enter any interaction, any situation so complete, so grounded and rooted in who we are, knowing who we are, that we can receive anything that comes our way. We can receive whatever interaction we have, whatever energy is coming, because we are in a space where we can hold the space for others. So just to recap the 3 ways, if you've been struggling with social anxiety, or feeling like you've been put into awkward situations, or you feel awkward in a situation or in a conversation, go ahead and see if you can practice any of these 3. Just integrate more of it. And instead of running away, so step 1, instead of running away, try to actually lean into more opportunities of that social interaction so you can get the reps back in and become that social butterfly again that you have been before, either with a family member, with a friend, or when you were young. Just remember that you had that, you were in that energy, in that space where you could be yourself. And step 2, again, it's really to be yourself, right? Allowing yourself to be yourself, giving yourself that opportunity to express all of you, your essence, your gifts, your mental strengths, your mental prowess, your wisdom. There's so much you can offer. And if you just let yourself follow that expression, that unique expression, instead of wondering what people say and wondering what people think and conforming to how they think of you. Instead, stick to who you know, who you are. And third step is to focus your attention more on the other person. Be engaged in what they're saying energetically, not just intellectually, but from your heart, actually feeling that space open up. I know it sounds kind of woo or trite, but really it is about opening that heart space and feeling that openness there when we are interacting with another, so that whatever comes our way just flows through the heart, not through the head, where we're overthinking and bringing in all the past conditioning about that person, all the past beliefs about them. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Please drop a comment if you found this helpful, or if you want more talks like these. I'd be happy to hop on to share any insights, because I have experienced a lot of this, and I wanted to come on and share my experience on it and what I've done, the small little steps I've done to help ease that anxiety and really lean into it and accept it and accept myself wholeheartedly. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful, amazing day. Namaste. And go out there and connect with more people and have those rich experiences again. Namaste.